Hi everyone, I want to welcome you to this Career Readiness presentation presented by the Wynn Center at West Hills College Lemoore. So today we're going to talk about career readiness, and we're going to do so through a few different topics. We're going to cover career assessments, career exploration, job searching, resume writing, interviewing, and networking. So first off, we need to understand what career readiness is. So career readiness is being able, with little or no outside help, to find, acquire, and keep a job, as well as to be able to manage transitions to new jobs as needed. So essentially, someone can be career ready by making sure they have some essential skills. Some of these skills are listed here. The first thing is making sure that you're able to find work, which means not just finding any job, which is a nice thing to be able to find any job, but you want to make sure that you're finding jobs that fulfill you. And what that means is you need to know yourself. You need to know what skills you have, what knowledge you have, what experiences you've gained, even what your interests are, what your natural abilities are that you bring to the table through your personality. You also want to make sure that you are able to keep the work that you find, which means you want to make sure you're a good employee. And how you can do that is you want to make sure that you have some general employability skills, aka soft skills. These are skills that can be applied in any career or any occupation. They can be communication skills, reliability, teamwork, working well with others, following direction. All of those are great assets to have that can be applied in any job you have. You also want to make sure that you have the ability to manage future work and life changes. Life is always changing, right? You can always have different things occurring in your life. You can also have different things occurring in your work. You want to make sure that you can balance and manage both of those things well. You also want to make sure you have access to career equipment, anything that you might need to do your job well and to find work, which means you might need access to a computer. You might need to have some type of reliable way of communicating via cell phone. Make sure you have voicemail, you have a professional email set up. You also might need a printer or access to a printer and reliable transportation so that you can get to interviews and get to work once you have been offered a job. Career exploration is the first step in finding out what job you might be good at and you might enjoy doing. You want to choose a field that you're interested in, and you can find many different jobs. Let's say you're interested in health careers, or you might also be interested in possibly owning your own business. Could you find a job that is medical sales equipment, maybe tying both of those interests together? You want to see what interests you and then find occupations that are related to those interests. You also want to make sure that you consider your education and skills requirements for those jobs. So you'll want to see what education is needed and what skills are needed, the salary that you would have in that occupation to make sure that you can meet the needs of yourself and your family financially. You also want to check to see what job expectations are for those fields. The stages of career exploration would be the next thing to know. And those are just searching for your job, making sure you know yourself, setting goals for yourself, long-term and short-term goals, which is our next bullet here. And the reason why setting goals is important is because you're never stagnant in your career. Once you get your first job, you probably will need to start thinking about where you want to go from there after a few years. And that's something that will always be changing. So you want to make sure that you set those goals for yourself, short-term and long-term goals, so you are never stagnant in your career. Career exploration tools. We have a few different tools that we encourage students to use when it comes to career exploration. We encourage students to go on eureka.org, which is a site students can use. It asks you many different personality tests, occupation tests to help place you in careers that are great for your personality, your interests, but also great for your education, skill set, all of those kinds of things. ONET is also another great resource. onetonline.org is the website, and then journeysmap.com is another resource that we encourage students to use. The next stage would be job searching. So the best thing to understand when it comes to job searching is that it takes time, which means that you need to allocate time to do the job search. And it's not just a one-time thing. You should be job searching on a daily basis because new jobs come on the market all the time. You want to make sure that you have an accurate and updated resume ready. I would recommend that you have multiple hard copies on hand and that you also have a PDF saved on your computer of your current resume. And you want to make sure that you create a job searching portfolio because applying online, most companies will have online sites or programs that they use to accept online applications. And those sites might make you have or create a user profile. So you might need to have a login information. So having a profile, or I'm sorry, a portfolio created where you can store those usernames and passwords for those different sites and companies helps you just collect all that information and have it readily on hand. You want to make sure that you don't limit yourself to just online applications. Online applications is great, but it's not the only way to get a job. So you want to make sure that you're also going and giving your resume to people in person, as that's a great way that people can meet you and interact with you in person. They can see your personality, they can see you're a real person, have a sense of the vibe you kind of give off, and they can make a good determination just in those seconds of whether they would give you an interview or review your resume and your application. You want to make sure that you have your voicemail set up. So many students either don't have their voicemail set up or their voicemail is full. So you want to make sure that you have your voicemail set up, that you have a professional voicemail that is tied to that voicemail, and that you make sure that you check those voicemails regularly. I also will say that we recommend that you have a professional email as well, and you check that email professionally too. And both that phone number for that voicemail and email should be what's listed on your resume. Don't forget about temporary hiring agencies as well. There are so many great opportunities to gain skills and opportunities at temporary hiring agencies to get your foot in the door somewhere, okay? When it comes to resume writing, we have a few different things that we want you to remember and note about resumes. Resumes are so important because they are an expectation and typically a requirement in most hiring processes for any company. So having an updated resume is essential to getting that job. Having an updated professional looking resume is one of the best things you can do to be noticed in the hiring process. We can help you in navigating what that resume might look like in the Win Center. And at the end of this presentation, there's information on how to reach us so that we can go and look at your resume with you and work with you on writing your resume in a one-on-one capacity. You also want to make sure that you list the appropriate information to include on your resume, and that's your name, contact information, professional contact information, education, experience, past work experience, volunteer opportunities that you might have done, any awards, certificates, skills that you've gained. Any of those things that are relevant to the job you're applying for should be listed on your resume. You just want to make sure that it's relevant to what you're applying for. You don't want to overwhelm your resume or have it too much information on there, because then it would be overwhelming to the viewer. The information you have on your resume should be brief and specific. You want to make sure your resume counts by keeping that information brief and specific, and that it looks visually pleasing to the viewer. If your resume seems overwhelmed by information, if you have really tiny font and so much words on your resume, the viewer of your resume will just automatically feel overwhelmed and probably a little annoyed that they have to read everything on your resume. So the best thing to do is make sure you keep your information brief and specific. I've also already mentioned keeping your email professional, but I cannot encourage you enough. You want to make sure your voicemail is accessible and professional, and you also want to make sure your email is professional. I would recommend having someone review your resume. You can have your resume reviewed in the Win Center with us by Win Center staff. Another great resource, though, is to have your resume reviewed by a faculty member. A lot of our faculty at West Hills College Lemoore are professionals in their field of study, and so utilize them and get their opinion on what you've listed in your resume, as they have worked in that field already, okay? This is a great example of a resume. Henrietta Mitchell, her name is one of the largest things written on the resume, which just by looking at the resume, briefly glancing at it, if I was a person on the interview committee or looking at her application, I see, because her name is large, that she's taking ownership of this document. She is not, making her name small. She has made it the largest thing on the document, which shows ownership and confidence as well. She has a personal profile statement, which is great. It's just typically a one-sentence statement which states what you're wanting to do with your career. Awards and achievements are listed. Contact information, notice that it's professional. She has her employment history, her past employment experience, previous education, and skills and abilities. Notice that the information that's listed is what's needed for the position, but it's not overwhelming. She doesn't go on and on and on with information that's not relevant to her career. Interviewing. So the next stage after you apply for a job is typically getting asked to come in for an interview. So you want to make sure when you're being asked to come in for an interview that beforehand you prepare. And how you can prepare is you can research the company. Nowadays, with the internet readily available, there's no reason that someone shouldn't research the company. You can Google the company name and get a lot of great information. You can also check out the company's website and look through all the different pages on their website to find out if they're doing any new initiatives. You can know their mission statement and vision statement from their website. These are great things to try to remember and have on hand during the interview. You also want to make sure you're familiar with the job description. Typically before I go in for an interview, I'll arrive to the interview location about 45 to 30 minutes ahead of my time of interviewing, and that's all prep because I will go through the job description, I will go through my resume, my cover letter that I submitted with the position, just to review what I submitted, what I wrote, because they obviously liked it or they wouldn't have invited me for the interview. So I'll review all of that information in my car so that I'm ready and prepared when I walk into that location for the interview. You also, just by doing that, you remind yourself about what you bring to the table. If you don't know what you bring to the table, then you need to review your resume and your cover letter because all of that should be listed there. I also would recommend practicing interviews. You can Google interview questions and you can find general interview questions. But if you already have the job that you know that you're applying for and you're interviewing for, you should definitely look and Google for interview questions specific to that position and see what comes up in your job search. We can help you with interview preparation by doing mock interview prep with you in the WIN Center, and there's information at the end of this presentation on how to contact us in the WIN Center. You also want to make sure that you dress to impress. Dressing to impress is basically putting your best foot forward. The interview is typically the first time that they're meeting you in person, and so you want to make sure that that impression is a good impression. So you want to do everything you can to make sure you leave a good impression, and typically that means preparing ahead of time. The day before your interview, I'd recommend making sure you decide what you want to wear to your interview, that you put that through the wash and it's clean and dry. I also, if you can, I would recommend that you iron your clothing, as that just helps you feel confident and prepared in your attire so that you feel confident when you walk into that interview with how you look. Dress to impress. Here's a grid showing some of the items that are appropriate to wear to an interview and some of the items that are inappropriate to wear to an interview. So for men, it's appropriate to wear a suit, shirt and tie, sports jacket, slacks, but you shouldn't go to an interview with a t-shirt, denim jeans, athletic wear, or hats. Women, it's appropriate for a skirted suit, a dress or skirt with blazer, skirt and blouse, skirt and sweater, and slacks and blouse. It's inappropriate to wear any type of mini skirts, mini dresses, shorts, denim skirts, evening wear. Any of those kinds of things are inappropriate. If you're not sure what is appropriate to wear to an interview, contact the WIN Center and we can give you some guidance. Next, we have networking. A lot of students are not aware what networking is, and how I like to state networking is imagining it's just an opportunity for you to build professional connections. You are basically seeking professional relationships for your career. So the importance of networking is just knowing that you're forming those connections in a professional manner so that you can build relationships in your career path. Doing it in a focused manner is specific to an occupation or a job that you're wanting to achieve. So for instance, if you know that you want to work in health careers, it would be great to go to an event that's being hosted by Adventist Health, because there are going to be a bunch of people that have occupations in health careers at that event. And so you attending that event helps you kind of rub shoulders, meet and greet, have some mingling one-on-one conversations with people that are doing the work that you're wanting to get involved with. Those are great ways to also build employee referrals. Once you are able to do a few different networking opportunities in your area of work, you can potentially find some great references or referrals that you can list on applications and resumes. I also would recommend checking out LinkedIn for online networking. LinkedIn's a great free resource for anyone that's looking to grow their networking contacts in the online world. So online networking is our next topic. You want to make sure before you kind of dive into LinkedIn and the online networking world that you kind of have an idea of who you're wanting to get to know, who you're wanting to build those connections with. So you want to determine your ideal employer or your position, and then you can find those companies or that person on LinkedIn. Once you're at that employer site on LinkedIn, their profile, you can find their hiring manager or their HR manager. You can reach out to them via LinkedIn, and you can even send them your resume, which is another great thing that you can do to let them know you've applied for a position, send them your resume, and let them know how you're so excited about the opportunity and you can't wait to potentially be a part of their team. So at the WIN Center, this is our Workforce Internship Networking Center at West Hills College Lemoore. We're here to help you gain the career you're wanting through either career assessments, job searching, interview skills, any of the things listed below. We can help with resume writing, even career assessments. If you're interested in navigating Eureka or ONET, we can help you do that. We do offer some workshops throughout the semester. They're currently virtual for the remainder of the for the remainder of the spring semester. If you're interested in attending a resume writing workshop, ACE the interview workshop, or job speaker, you can contact the WIN and we can get you that information of our next workshop with the Zoom link, and you can attend virtually. We also are doing a virtual job fair on Friday, May 1st from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The Zoom link is on this flyer. But if you have any questions, you can contact the WIN Center at 559-925-3388. We also do biz chats where we invite industry partners to meet us on Zoom, and we ask them some specific questions about their career, their organization that they work for, advice for students that are interested in continuing that line of work. So if any of that interests you, again, contact the WIN Center and we can get you into a biz chat with someone in your field of study or in your field of work. This is the WIN Center contact information. You can reach us by phone anytime between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Our phone is 559-925-3388, or you can also reach out to us on Zoom. That Zoom link is manned by someone 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for listening and attending this career readiness workshop. I hope it's been helpful, and I hope to hear from you soon in the WIN Center. Thanks so much.